Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for tuning in to Toy Anxiety. Today, we are counting down the top 5 things that I'm most excited about for the rest of 2022 when it comes to toys and action figures. It has already been an amazing year for toys. I am super pumped about all of these ongoing modern lines from NECA, Hasbro, Mattel, McFarlane. There's just so much cool stuff to collect. Let's go ahead and get right into the countdown. Coming in at number 5, it's the NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle sewer diorama playsets. Officially revealed at this year's San Diego Comic-Con, NECA is preparing to launch the first of 3 incredibly detailed sewer diorama playsets for their ever-popular and constantly expanding animated line of figures for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Each individual modular diorama represents a different section of the Turtles' underground lair, perfectly capturing the look and feel of the Teen Turtles homestead from the original TMNT animated series. You got Donatello's lab, the kitchen, and the living room, which are all going to see individual pre-order releases starting this fall, making these the perfect addition to the already released TMNT street scene dioramas. Throw in the fact that the NECA Turtle Van is also on the way, and we've already seen a deeper roster of character releases than anyone could have ever imagined. These sewer playsets are going to be the icing on the cake that takes NECA TMNT into the conversation for one of the greatest toy lines of all time. I absolutely love what NECA is doing with Ninja Turtles, and they are not slowing down anytime soon. Okay, coming in at number 4, these guys just started rolling out recently. It's DC Superpowers from McFarlane.
The worst villains on Earth are the most powerful heroes ever in the Battle of the Superpowers collection.
The hype is real, and the toys are pretty amazing. McFarlane has rolled out the first 4 figures and 2 vehicles for the relaunch of Superpowers, the mega collector and fan-friendly line of DC superheroes that originated from Kenner in the mid-1980s. These things are the definition of fun toys, with great likenesses and paint apps, a price point that does not break the bank, incredibly eye-catching retro packaging, and so far, a decent selection of characters. McFarlane has already kicked things off with updated versions of Batman, Darkseid, Superman, and of course, Jon Stewart, Green Lantern. I'm just excited to see where this line goes from here. McFarlane has already proven that he can roll out a ton of figures in a short amount of time, with the ongoing DC Multiverse and Batman 66 lines boasting huge rosters of figures and vehicles in just a few short years. What I would really love to see is an updated Hall of Justice or Batcave playset, something that would be really reminiscent of the incredible playsets of yesteryear. You know, trapdoors, jails, hidden hideaways, falling rocks. I want the works. Information is scarce for now, but the rumored next wave includes the Batman Who Laughs and the DC Rebirth The Flash, and I think it's safe to assume that more vehicles will also be on the way. I tell you, it's that retro packaging just absolutely gets me every time. Maybe a little bit of wishful thinking on this one, but that is okay. At number 3, we have the next HasLab project from Hasbro Star Wars. Though nothing has been officially announced, it's safe to assume that Star Wars will tease and possibly even reveal a new HasLab project at PulseCon in late September. As far as previous Star Wars HasLabs go, the Vintage Collection Jabba's Sail Barge and Razor Crest projects were tremendously successful. They showed the appetite and desire from Star Wars collectors to invest their hard-earned money into world building with large-scale vehicles and playsets for the legacy-scale figures. Unfortunately, Hasbro Star Wars has hit a couple of roadblocks since the success of the Razor Crest, with 2 unsuccessful Black Series HasLab projects in a 6-month period. First with the Black Series Rancor, and of course, the dead-on-arrival Reva roleplay lightsaber. You have to think Hasbro is ready to go back to the drawing board and figure out a project that the collective fan base can really get behind. For years, fans have been begging for an updated Death Star playset, and with the upcoming 40th anniversary of the Return of the Jedi, the timing could not be more perfect. Other possible HasLab options that would seemingly be on the table would be maybe a deluxe vintage collection Endor Ewok Village, a Black Series Mandalorian N1 Starfighter, or if I'm really thinking outside of the box, maybe the Lars Homestead right there on Tatooine. I mean, you get a ton of playability, and you have world building options that cross the original trilogy, the prequels, and of course the new Obi-Wan Kenobi series. So many possibilities when it comes to those large-scale dream projects, so we'll see what happens here in the next couple of months. Okay, coming in at number 2, it's the relaunch of something that is super close to my heart. That's right, Starting Lineup. For the last several months, Hasbro has been slowly rolling out teasers for their upcoming relaunch of Starting Lineup, the mega popular 80s and 90s line of sports superstars, which in its prime released a ton of figures covering the worlds of Major League Baseball, the NFL, the NBA, and more. These figures were more like tiny plastic statues than action figures. They stood about 4 inches tall, had limited articulation, and basically any major sports star that you can think of from that time period got at least one figure, or in the case of Michael Jordan, like 10 figures. We have very little details on what's in store for Hasbro's relaunch of Starting Lineup, but from what they have shown so far, we know we're going to get articulated figures, possibly in 6-inch scale akin to Star Wars Black Series or Marvel Legends, and we also know they're going to be launching with the stars of the NBA. Whether or not the line will be mass retail or a Pulse exclusive, that remains to be seen, and we still don't know if the line will focus on legends of the game or current superstars. Thank you so much for tuning in to this countdown. We only have one left, and I bet you probably guessed what it was. That's right, the Masters of the Universe Origins Eternia playset. Whether or not you're a Masters of the Universe collector does not matter. You have to admit that the forthcoming rollout of the Mattel Creations Origins Eternia playset is a gigantic deal for the toy collecting fandom. Details are still under wraps as far as price and whether or not this will be a pre-order, limited release, or a crowdfunding project. But the fact that Mattel is willing to take a chance on such a gigantic and massively scaled playset is absolutely incredible. We got the chance to get up close and personal with the Eternia at San Diego Comic-Con. And not only does this look to be a near identical replica of the original, it actually seems to be a touch bigger in scale. The Motu Origins line has been incredibly successful, and the character rollout keeps on going. The Origins Castle Grayskull debuted with a price point somewhere around $75. Most fans of the line figured that Snake Mountain was going to be next, but it looks like Eternia, which is one of the holy grailiest of holy grail 80s playsets, will be coming to collectors everywhere. Well, the ones who are willing to pay and who have the space for such a massive playset. So what will the price point be? We've been talking about this very thing with like-minded collectors over the past few weeks, and the general consensus is somewhere between $400 and $800, maybe even as much as $1,000. Since an original complete Masters of the Universe Eternia is near impossible to find, and if you do, the odds of nothing being broken or needing repair are basically zero, there's a really good chance that there are thousands of collectors out there willing to shell out that $500 or $600 to get an Eternia. Either way, it's going to be a very interesting project that could really open the doors to other large-scale retro playsets, possibly hitting the market down the road. You have to think Hasbro might actually consider a USS Flag or a Terradrome release for their G.I. Joe retros if Eternia is a huge success. Man, saw it in person. It is absolutely incredible. I cannot wait till they roll that project out. I have no idea where it's going to go, but I'm super excited to find out. What a countdown it's been. I cannot wait for all of this, plus so much more in the world of toys and action figures. Again, thank you so much for tuning in today. For Toy Anxiety, my name is Craig Goldberg. We will see you next time.
This is where the fun begins. This is where the fun begins. This is where the fun. This is where the fun. This is where the fun begins.
Who's the big guy with the muscles?
This is where the fun begins.